I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up and my February kind of currently reads, or plan to read. I just thought I might quickly run over the stuff that I read at the end of last year. By that I mean, namely, I just want to say I read When Dimple Met Rishi and I didn't enjoy it. Okay, I've said it now. You're not going. Jokes don't go anywhere. I want you still here. So, in January, I read 4 books. The first one was Stormfront, which is the first book in the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. Thank you, Geese. I love you too. I gave this book 3.9 stars on Goodreads. I know I'm a really picky Goodreads star giver, okay? Just don't even ask me about it. This book was an urban fantasy kind of book. Apart from Cassandra Clare stuff, I haven't really read many urban fantasies, so this was kind of a step into the unknown kind of thing. This book is about a wizard named Harry Dresden. He's kind of like a detective wizard thing. Harry kind of just goes along doing his weird supernatural thing. Most people are like, oh, do you do birthday parties? And he's like, no, I don't. I'm a real wizard. Anyway, he does bits occasionally when the police bring him in, when they have a weird case that they're not quite sure what to do with it. It kind of unfolds when a especially weird case opens up that appears to be magic, that someone has killed somebody using magic, and all of the White Council, which are like the Magic Council, are hot on Dresden's trail going, it was probably you, wasn't it? And he's like, no, I didn't do it, it was me. So, yeah. That is like the overarching plot for that book, and it was very fun. It was a fun book. I will continue with this series. It's a very long series, but yeah. The next book that I read was by Marissa Meyer, and that was Cinder. I gave this book 4.5 stars on Goodreads. I actually really enjoyed it. I've heard so many people talk a lot about Cinder, and basically, as a plot thing, it is a Cinderella retelling. Sci-fi... Basically, in this world, we are past World War IV by this point, I think. World War III. I don't know. This is set in New Beijing, because old Beijing was ruined in the huge last World War. And our main character, Cinder, is a cyborg. So she is kind of mostly human, but I think 36% of her is made out of mechanical parts because she went through an accident of some sort, we don't quite know what, and has been reconstructed. Cyborgs are basically seen as, like, you know, the servants of the world, and you kind of get owned more as property than as being a person, despite that she's perfectly person-y. The story kind of sets up the fact that she's an amazing mechanic. There's also a huge plague that's going about, which the name of it has skipped my brain at the minute. Then we add in a prince and kind of stir up the pot of it normally being like Cinderella, and it comes out with a pretty cool story. For a little bit of spoilers, sorry. I love the way Cinder kind of just admitted the fact that she was kind of falling in love with Kai. She knew she was falling in love with him too fast, but she admitted that and kind of was like, I know this is just a bit too much, like, this can't really be real. But the thing is that naturally, when you're that age and you see someone that's of the opposite gender and you swing that way, you're like, yeah! And she was admitting that that's what was going on, that she was just admitting her senses. So I really liked that. I also loved how badass she was. We've already worked out who most of the other people are. The second book, Scarlet, which I'm wanting to read, I'm like going, wait, who's Scarlet? Because I know who Cressnow is and who Winter is. Like, who's Scarlet? Now that I have totally readjusted that camera. Then, the third book that I read in January was The Wizards of Once by Crescinda... Whatever, I murder names. Without saying it, I didn't really need to. I gave this book 5 stars on Goodreads. This book was just amazing. Okay. To describe this, Crowell is mostly known for her How to Train Your Dragon series, which I think she's just finished. This book too is set in a magical setting where there are wizards and there are warriors, and the two kind of war over each other. The warriors kind of hating magic, and the wizards kind of hating the warriors because they have iron, which magic cannot affect. This book has a beautiful map in it and lots of great pictures, because Crowell always does pretty pictures. And something that I've definitely noticed from the How to Train Your Dragon series, the pictures are so much more detailed, and she's such a better drawer now. Not that I think she's going for something crazy, I think she always has a bit of a Quentin Blake style. This book, the 2 main protagonists are Zar, who is the son of the head wizard, so he is a wizard himself, and Wish, who is a warrior princess. Zar's magic has not come in yet, So he's kind of a magicless wizard, but he's got lots of charisma and lots of people follow him about. He's kind of just outgoing and filled with lots of energy and loves breaking the rules. And then Wish also loves breaking the rules. She kind of has a bodyguard who is not very good at doing his job, but he passed all the bodyguarding exams, so now he's a bodyguard. These two characters meet when Tsar is out in the bad woods busy trying to catch a witch, because he decided even if witches have bad magic, he wants some of their magic. This book is just filled with so much pizzazz and style, and it's kind of, it's a cutesy read, because it is a middle grade book, but it's also got an element of seriousness, which I really like. I also listened to this on audio at the same time as reading it, so I got the pictures and the reader, who was David Tennant, reading out the audio. I would highly recommend the audio for this. It is amazing. Of course, you do miss out on all the beautiful pictures if you go with the audio, so I suggest, if you can, get a book to read along with it, because you're never going to be able to do better voices than David Tennant, but also not having the pictures is a little bit sad. Or just, be David Tennant and read the book to yourself. If you're David Tennant, just don't worry about it, just read the book. And the fourth and final book, which I read in January, was An Emperor in the Ashes by Sabathiar. This book I have picked up and put down so many times, not out of badness for the book. I love this book. This book I gave 5 stars on Goodreads. I loved it. But I just, for some reason, have picked it up and put it down a lot. This book is from 2 first-person perspectives. One being Leia, who is part of the Scholar people, who are an enslaved people, to the Martial Empire, which is where Elias, the other character in this story, is from. I'm not quite sure whether this is young adult, or like new adult, or just straight up adult. I love the way kind of magic is dusted over it really lightly, and it's kind of like hinting that it's there, like we know that it's there, but we're still busy trying to work out how it's there. This book was even funnier than Sabathiar's Instagram story, and damn, she's got a funny Instagram story, so, this book did pretty well. Those are all the books that I read in January. Now my currently reads kind of what I'm thinking about reading this month. The first book which I'm currently reading in February, that is Unseen Academicals by Terry Pratchett. This book is a bit of a mashup between like Romeo and Juliet, but then also sporting, but then also kind of beating sexism and xenophobia all on the head at the same time. Like it's a great mashup. Basically, in this book, the University of Wizards discover a book of traditions, which, they haven't really completed any of these traditions, and they suddenly realise that technically the university is meant to be joining in a game of foot the ball every year. All the wizards are like, oh crap, okay, well, let's do that then. They then also discover a ancient set of rules to foot the ball, which make it more like football rather than just scrambling. Yeah. This then sets off a wonderful charade of just trying to work out how we do that. There is a huge cacophony of characters to this story, and it's basically the funniest thing ever. You just laugh the whole way through. Honestly, Terry Pratchett is just like a bag of jokes. And the more Terry Pratchett you read, the more you laugh when you read his stuff, because like some of them occasionally he'll stack jokes on top of each other throughout books. The next book that I also want to read is the second book to the Lunar Chronicles, because I just read Cinder, and I kind of want to keep going because I'm really enjoying it, and that is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. I kind of don't exactly know what this book is going to be about. I just assume it's following on from Cinder. The next book that I'm reading is technically one that I'm giving to my brother for his birthday, but don't tell him that. And that is the unofficial Bible for Minecrafters. This is basically a short overview of the Bible, but in Minecraft, and I think that's really cool, and I'm going to read it to him before I give it to him. That's called being resourceful with your gifts. And then fine, yes, my last pick, which I have not picked yet, will be a love story. I'm kind of reading Unseen Academicals, it's got a little bit of love in it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time, and please tell me what you are reading. Bye! So, in January I read 4 books.